It may look as fine as a strand of hair, but this sand can devour a person whole, leaving behind nothing but bones. As the woman stepped onto the beach, she suddenly felt her feet sink and get trapped. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't pull them out. She reached down to free herself, only for her hands to get caught too. Her boyfriend rushed to help, but before he could reach her, he tripped and fell face first onto the sand, only to find himself completely stuck. The others stood frozen in shock as the air filled with the couple's terrified screams. The woman desperately called out his name, and he struggled to lift his head, but half of his face was already gone, devoured by the sand. The group could only watch in horror as their friends were swallowed whole. Just the night before. This place had been filled with laughter and music. A group of friends had gathered here for a party. Two guys had somehow found a giant chunk of meat and decided to roast it over the fire. By morning, the woman woke up groggy, only to realize that everyone on the beach had vanished. All that remained were piles of clothes scattered on the sand. Then she saw something chilling. A small bird landed on the beach, pecking at the sand. And suddenly it was yanked down. In mere seconds, it disappeared without a trace. Realizing the danger, she rushed to warn her friends not to touch the sand, but it was too late. So the nightmare had already begun. Now, the survivors sat trapped in their car, too terrified to move. Curious and desperate for answers, the woman cautiously reached out to touch the sand. In that instant, countless hair-like tentacles shot out from the surface. It was hard to believe, but these tiny strands were the very creatures that had devoured an entire person. Meanwhile, Big Zhuang finally woke up, completely unaware of the horror unfolding outside. Still groggy from the previous night's drinking, he realized he had somehow fallen asleep inside a metal barrel. Struggling to get out, he shook the barrel violently. The group shouted for him to stop, warning him about the monsters lurking in the sand. Hearing that, so many of their friends had already died. Big Zhuang finally calmed down. Everyone remained motionless, hoping the creatures would disappear on their own. But as time passed, the scorching sun drained their energy. Dehydration and heat exhaustion were setting in, and their food supply was running dangerously low. And just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, the sand monsters started attacking the car.